Are you extra busy thanks to your drive to be perfect, your brilliant procrastination ploys, or maybe in a creative aversion to structure? I know we've all been there, but it doesn't have to be this hard to bring your dreams to life. Hi, I'm Kathy Gray from Enabling Enterprise, and I'm thrilled to welcome Claire Barton to help show us how. Now, Claire is a coach, a productivity guru, and a self-proclaimed recovering perfectionist. Welcome, Claire.
Hi, Kathy. Thanks so much for chatting to me today. So yeah, I have been doing this business for a bit over 2 years, and it has had lots and lots of different iterations, from business manager, online business manager, to BA, to business coach. And where I've kind of settled now is this beautiful space in the mentoring and coaching around the recovering perfectionist. And what that means to me, it's a big part of my why in terms of helping people kind of get out of their own way from, worrying about whether things are going to be perfect or knowing exactly what the end product looks like, to actually just taking some imperfect action to move forward and experiment and play within their business, their lives, their projects, whatever it is that they're working on. And two of the main things that I help with is the organization and structure and outsourcing, automation, all of those little bits and pieces that we kind of tinker around with behind the scenes to make life a little bit easier and to make you feel like you've got a beautiful foundation so that you can play up here and be really creative and all of that sort of thing. And on the other side, I do a lot of content strategy. So making sure that all of those beautiful interaction points are connected and connective and aligned to your goals and to your purpose and your overall mission in your business.
Beautiful, Claire. And what impact do you see for women who seek your help to create content, to develop their systems, and to seek support within the space?
Really good question. I think the biggest thing is having some sort of foundation. So I often talk about this phrase that the building can only be as tall as the foundation is strong. So I sort of feel like to have a strong business and to have a strong purpose and a mission and to be able to move through your business really efficiently and really effectively and have fun and enjoy doing it, you have to have some foundations. Now, you can start off with very little foundations, but having a few bits and pieces that just make you feel a little bit supported, especially when you get out of bed some mornings and you just don't feel like doing it, you haven't got the energy, you don't necessarily have the beautiful inspiration that we'd all love to wake up with every single morning. But it's great just to have some of these little things in place so that you can swing your legs out of bed and things either take care of themselves, or there's someone to support you, or you kind of just know what the bare minimums are that you need to do so that you can not completely resent your beautiful business and you can still get things done and connect with the right people and all of that sort of thing. So I think there's this sort of sense of exhalation, like you can just breathe and relax because you don't have to always live up here in this totally overwhelmed place, but it also allows you creativity. I think that's the biggest thing. Having this kind of stable stuff that goes on underneath the surface allows you to be creative and to play up here.
Absolutely. And what's the most important aspect of content in your business?
Oh, gosh, there's so many important parts of content. I think consistency is definitely an important part. In terms of the know, like, trust, connect factor between you and your tribe, the trust is a really big thing, and consistency is a big part of trust, so that people know what they can expect from you, roughly how often they can expect it from you, what's the tone of your message, what's the underlying core message that you're always talking about. So it becomes very familiar and it becomes easy to connect with, and people know that they either do connect with it or they don't connect with it, and that's fine either way. So consistency is definitely a big thing. But also, we don't want to create content just for the sake of creating content. There's no point in writing blog after blog if it's actually not serving a purpose. So it also has to be aligned to your core message and your purpose and your business goals and also your personal goals. So, some people say, I want to blog every single day. But if you're aiming to work 4 hours a day, it's probably not going to happen unless you're batching the hell out of it for a year or something. So it's got to serve your tribe and also your own business purposes, and have some sort of funnel or basket or whatever you want to call it, so that it's not just doing it for the sake of doing it. There's got to be some sort of thing that happens after all of this content. So, all of these beautiful interaction points that people have opportunities of making with you through all of your content, there's an opportunity for them to connect with you even further.
What do we stand to gain when we focus on the systems and maybe the unfun sides of our business?
I'm a very organized person. It's how I kind of do life, and I I know that it doesn't come as naturally to some people to have systems and organization and that sort of thing. So when I first started this business, my pitch went like this. Hi, I'm Claire, and I really like planning and organizing things. So do you need anything planned and organized? It was incredibly inarticulate, but it's exactly what I do, really. So it's a place that I play. So I really love to cast my eyes over things and see where there are gaps or see where things could be more efficient or more effective or more fun. I work especially with people who are incredibly intuitive, creative healers who are self-confessed non-business people. They're doing the thing that is their gift, and that is the most beautiful thing that they could do. However, because they're so good at their gift, they've developed these amazing businesses which are doing really, really well, but then the business hasn't quite kept up with where they're at. So that's where I come in. What the benefit is that these people then don't need to worry about all the boring stuff, because you spend a small amount of time getting things sorted and then it kind of takes care of itself. A lot of people say, I'm not very techie. That's fine. You don't need to be techie. We just need to have some stuff in there that makes sense to you, that works for your business, not the other way around, so that you also get some freedom to play in your business.
How do you support women to get better in this space? How do you give them the confidence and the tools and support to be strategic with their content, as you say?
So for me, it starts with a bit of planning, and I am kind of the planning and productivity coach who talks about not doing over planning. I think having a bit of planning is great, but there's also a lot to be said for leaving enough energetic space for the opportunities to come in and that sort of thing. But in terms of how I support, I think having some sort of a plan or an outline, skeleton, whatever you want to call it, just so that you've got a little bit of structure and a little bit of cohesion with how your business works together, with how you work with your clients, all of that sort of thing. I do help with creating plans. So first of all, we start with things like core messaging. So what is your core message? And this is something that people can really, really get a bit overwhelmed with trying to figure out, and you absolutely don't need to. You can start with 4 or 5 core messages, and then over time your business and you will mature and develop, and it'll become really obvious what your actual core message is. I think when I started, I had maybe 4 or 5, and they were all kind of all over the place, same sort of space, but a little bit different. And now I can articulate it as simply as, it doesn't have to be this hard. Like, it's the one thing that I just want to show people. It actually can be really easy and fun. You don't have to overthink this and all of that sort of thing. Anyway, I get a bit ranty about this. So we talk about core message. We look at some streams or categories. We plot out some beautiful titles that you might want to do for blogs or videos. Then we look at social media, and there's a bit of overlap with the big content on social media and also the smaller connective bits of content. We look at newsletters, we look at emails, webinars, speaking, video, absolutely every little touch point that anyone might ever have with your business, and work out what is the content strategy for that, and what are you trying to gain from it? What's the point of doing content? So we sort of work together in a bit of a planning and a bit of a, I want to say nutting out. It's not a very articulate word, but really just so that, when you start talking about it and asking questions and even writing a few things down, it just grounds things a lot more, so you can actually understand what the whole point of it all is. And then I also have my beautiful Batch It Crazy, which is Batch It Crazy monthly membership program, which is 50% it's the training, and there's modules in there, and we have a different theme on our weekly calls. But on the weekly calls, the biggest thing is the accountability. So if you've committed to creating content to connect with your tribe, the biggest block to that is actually committing to putting the time aside to it. Not just saying, I'm committing to writing a blog this week or every week for the next year. You've actually got to have a bit of a implementation system. So that's definitely what Batch It Crazy does. So we come together once a week. We actually do an hour of Pomodoro style working sessions, which is where the productivity stuff comes into it as well. And there's some beautiful supported gentle accountability to actually create that content.
But there's also live opportunities to work with you, Claire.
There are some live opportunities. So last year in 2017, I ran the first Batch It Crazy retreat here in Brisbane. And in 2018, there are 8 retreats coming up. So the retreat looks like this. We basically lock ourselves away in a beautiful Airbnb style, B&B, gorgeous accommodation with a private room and everything. We have a half day for planning on the Friday afternoon usually, followed by a beautiful dinner where we all get to know each other and talk about our goals and all of that sort of thing. And then throughout the weekend, we do 6 mini workshops on all of those beautiful areas of content: social media, blogging, videos, webinars, speaking, podcasting, workflows and distribution channels, and how to get your blog in front of the right people and that sort of thing. So there's quite a bit of learning element. And then we also have 7 Pomodoro style working sessions. So there's also a heap of time built in that you have this accountability, you have access to me to chat one-on-one during those times, to actually sit and create your videos or your blogs or your social media posts. And then we work out how we're going to get it out to your market as well. So it's a beautiful 2.5 days, 3 nights. It's all inclusive and it's absolutely amazing. We had 5 people on the first one, and 2 of them have rebooked for this year. So I'm pretty stoked to see how high value it was for them that they're coming back to do it all over again, which is really cool.
And I hear there's a book on the horizon.
There is. It hasn't officially been titled yet, but it's probably going to be called The Recovering Perfectionist. And yeah, it's all about a bit of my story and a bit of my kind of methodology, I suppose, that I feel like I teach when I'm working with someone to overcome the perfectionist stuff, and then how to apply it to all the different parts of your business. So whether you're talking about business planning or social media or marketing or finances and all of that sort of thing, I'm going to show you how you can actually apply this method to all of the facets of your business. So a lot of people, I think, when they come into business or they're thinking about coming in and starting a business, they think they have to have everything completely, they have to know how to do everything completely themselves, which is so inefficient, ineffective, and just not conducive to having a happy business. We're not all accountants. We shouldn't all be doing all the money stuff. We're not all extroverts. We shouldn't all be doing all the things that, the extroverts are doing, whatever. So it's really about showing some really simple tools about how you can do bits and pieces of everything, but you don't have to do everything to the nth degree. You can outsource some stuff, you can get support for stuff, you can automate some stuff, so you don't have to do it all together. So it kind of combines the practical business stuff with the recovering perfectionist imperfect action. Let's just get it done. Let's move forward through it. Because when you do start a business, we are wearing all the hats. We don't have big budgets normally to, be outsourcing every single thing. So you do need to have, your fingers in every little pie to some extent. So it's really just about how to understand a bit of that sort of stuff in the bare minimum way. So we don't need to, basically go and get an accounting degree just to be able to make sure that we're, invoicing correctly and that sort of thing.
I have to agree. Working with you in some of your programs and groups has been fun. It's been creative and supportive. And I'm really glad that you're continuing to offer and build on these programs, and look forward to the book coming out. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.